Good evening and welcome back to Underrail. Last time we wrapped up the last few bits that were required to get through the gate. And tonight, we very well may be done with our journey. So, let's do a quick review. Remember how I shrunk my total carried weight? We'll be switching to the commando belt. I may not have showed it off. I don't know why I got two of these. But if you go to... I did this one off screen, but that area at the very beginning at the Omega Complex basement, if you followed where the slave traders came into the base from, the boss there, Gerhardt Page, carries this item now. And the reason why it's noteworthy is we should see a nice little buff. Does that not work on our... Oh, wait, does that not work on melee? Hold up. Let's take it off completely. Huh, it does... Huh. Either it doesn't apply naturally, or you need versatility to actually see the increase. That is, a bit disappointing, actually. Well, I don't actually know if it's applying, but we'll leave it. We made the room. Our primary weapons will be the Ripper's Glove to inflict those bleed stacks. And of course the Power Fist, which has been treating us very kindly throughout the whole run. Almost choked on my own saliva. I will probably keep the shortest Bioscrubber equipped just to protect from, oh, you know what? Oh, does it not? Huh. Well, you know what? We will power it up just to see what happens. But we will keep that on just in case of any gas that might be down there. Ethereal Torch we're just keeping. Cloaking Device we'll keep on because it does give a evasion bonus. Also the stealth bonus will probably be helpful. I don't see us using the plasma grenades, but, you know, might as well use the slot. Using our infused Greater Siphoner leather tabby boots and vest, or excuse me, overcoat. Honestly, you could probably put something better in the armor slot at this point. But, Now, you might be wondering what the TNT's for. We could probably do without it, and you'll see why. But we'll still be seeing how it goes. And then as far as everything here, well, hee. Well, we'll be doing something that could be considered a little bit scummy. Just a little bit. Once we get into the arena proper. So, I will use this one, and we will go into stealth. And, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this party started, shall we? It is Shadow we expected. We have been starving ourselves for days in hope he would come for his prize. Such a heavenly feast it would be, a storm of senses at the break of abstinence. The flesh of the High Ones so opulent, their thoughts clear in brisk waters from ancient glacial currents. But I see now that he will not dare face us. And instead we got you another mangy rail rat. Trash-digging, foul-smelling, ugly, dysmorphic something. But alas, we have not eaten for a while, so we must make do. Come, little one, let us take you down the corridors of pain. Take heart, for on the other side a greater destiny awaits. You must ascend to become exalted. Proudly rise to submission. Come, join your river into our sea and become the flesh of a god. The ladder is now electrified, so don't attempt to do anything with that. So, we probably don't need to do this, but we will be doing it. Okay, well, that kind of messed everything up. So I will reload this time, but I see what I'll do. So it's actually kind of funny the ways that you can trivialize this fight on anything other than dominating. And I've seen plenty of people turn this into a joke on dominating. It's something. Yeah, we'll just pull back and wait. That should be all of them. So that was 2 down. And they will slowly make their way over there. And then by now they should mostly or entirely be up top. So yeah, this is to assist in the fight itself, but it's probably unnecessary. But if you were lacking in damage and or just needed something to help push things in your favor, that will do it. So, as for us, oh, are they detecting us through this? So what we're going to do, so we got 2 saves here, and that was over there. So we'll save here just in case this was a terrible idea. Okay, I was kind of hoping that our move points would persist, but that's fine. So, super soldier drug, or rather vitality powder, super soldier drug, morphine, we'll wait on the morphine, focus stem, bullhead. See, what is our AP? Also, if you equip the doctor's belt, which I believe also gives a 3rd utility slot, especially if the commando belt isn't actually helping, you would be able to cut the AP cost of all these down to 2, which would be pretty beneficial. But basically, we're popping everything that would be relevant. You know what? Sure. Jumping bean for funsies. Okay. What's our AP at? 47. Pop the morphine. And then, once again, we do the super funny thing. We should get no negative effects in stasis. And all of our buffs are, of course, staying frozen. So we move right up to Chort. How many movement points? We got 62. Converts the meta rate of 3 to 1. That wouldn't give us the full 26, but I think we can do this in one turn, admittedly. So pop Blitz. Expose weakness. So first, let's see if we can inflict some bleeding wounds. We can. And we can also inflict infected wounds. So that's 3 stacks. Okay. And then build up our blood for blood stacks. So we are capped now. He's got a lot of dots on him. I was going to switch to the Power Fist, but I kind of want to see if we can kill him with bleed damage, so... He's not going to last long enough. Oh my gosh. Well. Oh, jeez. So in one turn, he would be taking 500-ish bleed damage, but yeah. So our build worked just fine. Granted, this is, of course, normal. Got 5 EXP from that. Whether it was a monster or a god, it's dead now. Most of the commands on this console are written in a language unknown to you. There's 2 you managed to make out, however. Disable ladder electric field. Enable secondary elevator power. I don't trust the random option. And take the cube. Now, we've been, they've been making a huge fuss about it, so, the cube. This must be the single weirdest item you've ever held. First of all, the cube is not a cube at all. It's an irregular polyhedron. On most polygon faces, there's a symbol. Some symbols are simple, and some are complex. The most recurring patterns in them are crosses, often taking the central position with other symbols being placed around them, filled and empty circles, brackets, and something that resembles the letter M or maybe W. On some faces, there are slots of irregular shapes. The cube itself is very light and pleasantly smooth to the touch. What makes the object especially strange is the illusion of flatness it gives off as you direct your eyes towards its imaginary center for long enough, while simultaneously the polygon faces on the edges of the projection appear curved. And that's its picture, its little icon down there. And just think, all of Underrail was thrown into a fuss over just that. Okay, nothing happens. Also, fun fact, since we're here, and I think it would be funny to show off. So yeah, all of these died like Ram Umbra told us, but That's not what I'm looking for. Was I incorrect? Or does he die on normal? Okay, I'd seen some clips where the one that's acting as his mouth, the speaker, would persist after everything. I'm not sure what the deal was there, but he didn't persist here. Oh well. Now, I don't believe that you can do stealth. Yeah, it is a cutscene. And the gas is still there? A familiar figure stands before you, addressing you without delay. Give us the cube. I don't know, like, I imagine you could leave it, but I don't know if that will work, but it's all yours. Hand him the cube. The Faceless carefully takes the cube from your hands. One of the soldiers hands him a metal box in which he places the cube, closing it soon after. We have no more business with you. He stops speaking, letting silence take over. As he observes you, as they all observe you, you begin to feel uneasy. However, your concern is unjustified. He produces a strange medallion and hands it to you. Take this. You are now free to leave. What is this? A token of recognition. Keep it with you. I had questions I wanted to ask you. No, you had the chance to ask everything you wanted. Okay, fine. Actually, yeah, sure. I just wanted to ask you how to get out of here. There's an elevator southwest of Hollow Earth. It is the only one functional that we know of. I'll go to it then. So long. The Faceless nods, during which the soldiers behind him move almost simultaneously and pass through the gate behind you, one by one. Towering Faceless is the last one to do so. So, the path back is going to be mostly safe, but we won't skip through it because it'll give me a chance to go go through a brief synopsis of the event. I think they're... What? Y'all are supposed to be dead. What's this? Why are y'all alive? Well, I thought it was going to be uneventful. Game's over here making me a liar. So I guess that's just a weird remnant of getting the Eye of Chort debuff and not having killed them prior. So, oh well. Right. So I'm actually a little bit curious because I don't remember if they would still be there. But we are going to... Oh, I guess I'd have to leave through the one over here. We're going to hit up Cytosine Outpost and see how badly those guys are taking their, well, effective god being dead. But anyway, so... The overall plot. Hollow Earth is where everything in the plot basically started. Oh yeah, they are gone. Almost everything can be traced back to here. Okay. So, in total, the events in Foundry, as were obvious, were the Cymorphs. Cymorphs were developed here. They also populated the fungal forest. Tying into that would be Anton Matveev, that is our boy Ezra. I am actually not sure if I'm going... I'm probably not going the right direction. I probably got to go over here. He managed to escape the events of Hollow Earth, as did one or two of his buddies. Now, I might have overlooked a small detail here or there, like during the recordings, but it was supposed to be clear that John Dyson is actually Dude, as in our Dude, the drunk, stoner, hippie, rift walking buddy of ours, that Dude. Oh. Oh. Forgot about you, buddy. I'll just let him come to us. Easy. Oh! We didn't even find any of these. Quad damage module. Luckily, it must have been defective, worth 2 oddity points. Speaking of, we are at 52 out of 66, so we had almost an entire spare level. Almost, not quite. If we'd actually been as thorough as we had been prior, we probably could have leveled again. Anyway, what other details? I believe you can actually find, you can find one survivor down in the Karis residential facility, but it's a little, it's based on your perception. I believe it's tied to one of the vents. Obviously, I didn't pump the points into perception, so we didn't find that. Let's see what they do. Of course he does something like that. Yeah, you better run. Nerd beetle. What else? So, obviously there are some details that... I don't know if this is the elevator, but we found a elevator. I don't believe this is it. Oh, is it? Oh! I thought it was a bit further. A familiar shape materializes before you. You are startled, but as your previous encounter had shown, his presence, no matter how unexpected or intimidating, does not mean danger. Once more, a displaced voice addresses you. Short is no more, and the cube has been returned to the Faceless. I was wondering when you'd show up again. Other events await my, or I should say, our, participation. That is why I am here. I am looking for someone who pretends to be one of your own kin, but is not. Adrian Tanner, as he calls himself. Just as your lips separate to sound the most obvious question, you hear the answer preceded. Tanner must die, and few but myself can make sure that occurs. I am a powerful being, and so is he. We are the same kin, yet he conceals it better. The reasons should be obvious. What did he do to deserve death? He committed a crime. What crime? That does not concern you. Okay. So you need me to get to him? No. Tanner is no longer in Southgate Station. He knows I am after him, and if I am correct, he should be on his way to North Underrail. Our events are connected. Yours, Tanner's, mine. I do not know why, but I do know that such is the case. As I saw you being an essential participant in the destruction of Chort, perhaps you are also an actor of similar importance in Tanner's, or even in other events. It is an option I would be foolish to disregard. After our conversation comes to an end, I will travel to North Underrail after him. I would recommend you do so too. All the destruction that emerged from events we have witnessed is the consequence of his actions, in one way or the other, and his actions are unlikely to deviate from the norm. If you want to prevent similar events from occurring, then North Underrail should be your next destination. Ooh, I was worried there for a second. You will be able to find me in a place called Hexagon. Ask for 6. He's a dangerous individual, and if you are right, he better be stopped. I'll go to North Underrail. Good. The faceless blockade is no more, so the railroad should be unobstructed. He stopped speaking, his lenses surveying your expression. Ask while you can. What are you and where are you from? I come from far away. That is the best answer I can give you. It is the only one you'll be able to understand. As for what I am, the things you see will be enough of an answer. Are you one of the godmen? I am not sure what that term means. If it is something you heard from Azif, then know that his knowledge is limited, even more so than he thinks. Short referred to you as a High One. What does that mean? It is an archaic term, a distant thought. It does not describe me, but it speaks volumes about this particular manifestation. Far away? Where? You would not understand it, and you do not need this information. Let me ask you something else. You say Tanner is pretending to be one of us. You don't seem to care about concealing your appearance. No. Why? It would be meaningless for me to do so. Deception is not what I want. What can you tell me about Tanner? His power is not far from my own, even though, because of his deceptive nature, he is reluctant to reveal it. He hid from me over the course of many events, under different pseudonyms. Every time I revealed him, he vanished. Why won't he fight you? Has he ever tried? No. He is powerful, but not as much as I am. Are you sure he hasn't found a way to increase his power somehow? He tried, but I do not allow him, as you are able to see. What is Tanner's real name? I will not reveal that. You told me yours. Yes, names hold power. I revealed mine because it was necessary. Revealing Tanner's is not. Maybe in some different event. Why were you in the Oculus? You being its member should understand that by this event, I was tracking Tanner, and the trail brought me there. Let me ask you something else. You say your mission was to kill Tanner, yet you let him get away so that you can ensure Chort was destroyed. Why? I already told you. It is something I knew was most important. But you didn't know why. Why put so much effort into it when you weren't sure? I was sure it needs to be destroyed. I was not sure why. There is a difference. I could not explain these things to you, even if I wanted to. Your language is incomplete. And I have nothing to ask you. We do, but unfortunately, we've asked everything of relevance. Good. Then our conversation is done, Bacon. And with that, that's one of the last major reveals. You can kind of infer that Tanner wasn't quite on the up and up very early, just by going into stealth in front of him, like Six, and like many tech enemies. He has true sight. Also, yeah, it sure would be fun if we had to walk all the way back to Southgate Station or wherever, right? There was a portal, literally right there. Soon. And we're going to actually head to our house real quick, because remember, I did mention that Iran would attack us. Let's see if that pops or not. And I don't think it did. That's a shame. Yep. Oh well. Not like his gear would do us any good at this point, but you know, it is what it is. So let's head back to Southgate Station, wrap up the last bits there, and then before we close, I'll finish with my summary. Commons in Cantina? Nobody? Private quarters. Locked. Okay. So, failing that, I guess we need to go up to administration. From the moment you stepped into the room, Vera's eyes were fixed on you. However, you are aware that the worried look is not only due to your lengthy absence. Bacon, I'm so glad you're alive. After we heard from Protectorate forces were moving toward the Institute of Chort, and not hearing from you for so long, we became really worried. Well, we've yet to determine if I'm actually alive, considering the things I've been through. I understand, and you deserve rest. I wouldn't want to delay it any longer, but something happened. Tanner disappeared. I know. She pauses, so the word is already out. Tell me about Tanner's disappearance. He left his office some time ago, and no one has seen him since. No one saw him leave through any of the station's exits, like he vanished. This has never happened before. So many things are happening around South Underrail, and his disappearance worries me. Vera looks at you as if wanting to say something, but that statement seems like it's been replaced by a different one. We still haven't checked his room. Since you're here, I think it's best you do it. No problem, I'll do it. Usually I would approach Gorska with these kinds of things, but since he's still in Core City, that leaves you as the one I would trust the most with something this important. What do you want me to do? See Ezra. He'll let you into Tanner's room. Keep your eyes open and try to find anything at all which would shed some light on what is going on here. On my way. Good. Meanwhile, I think it's time I assemble the council. Return to me once you and Ezra inspect Tanner's room. Also, we're still getting experience, which is super funny when you actually stop and think about it. Now, Ezra, are you here at the room or are you still at your station? Okay, he's still at his station. Engineering and Cyber Labs. Ezra looks at you with his one good eye and speaks in his usual calm and even fashion. Have you spoken to Vera? That's why I'm here. I'm ready to go to Tanner's room. Ezra presents the key card to Tanner's room. Follow me. There. I will wait here while you inspect Tanner's room. Won't you help me? I wouldn't want to get in your way, Bacon. Fair? Okay, I'm going to take a look inside. And be cautious, just in case. I will. No sense in playing coy with him. No. No. I hate pixel hunting. There's an odd amount of nothing here. You stare at the odd picture in front of you. Its seemingly solid surface is occasionally shifting before your very eyes, and soon you wonder if it is solid at all. Touch the picture. As your hand comes closer to touching the picture, Ezra's word of caution passes through your mind. You ignore them. A warm sensation pulses through your fingers as they meet the surface and vanish in it. They feel as if you are pushing them through a viscous fluid, and they also feel distant. Push your arm through the picture. Slowly, your arm disappears up to the elbow. The warm sensation now travels all the way to your shoulder, and slowly proceeds further, creating a feeling similar to blood flowing back into a numbed limb, but more intense. However, after holding this pose for a few more minutes, the warmth begins to dissipate and your arm feels gone. Your mind begins to panic, screaming for the severed limb, and pain becomes excruciating. Go through the picture. Despite the burning urge to pull your arm out, you instead push your whole body through. For a brief moment, it felt like you swam through thick, warm fluid, yet you are clean upon passing through. The pain is gone, and you get to the other side, whole. And welcome to a room that looks oddly like the one in both the Institute of Chort and also just the Oculus. Judging by its positioning, this could be some sort of console, but you have no idea how it would function since it has no obvious displays or controls. Oh, you dare try to lock me out of something at this juncture? How cute. Yeah, to be fair, it's an okay plasma core. And these metal mask fragments. You see fragments of what appears to be a realistic human face mask. As you step out of the picture, you are startled to see Ezra staring at you. I see you have found something interesting. Yeah, you wouldn't believe what I just saw there. Maybe I would. I've seen plenty of things during my lifetime. Wait, did you know about this picture? No. Still, calling it a picture seems rather inadequate, based on what I've just seen. Tell me, Bacon, what was on the other side of this portal? A small room with a stasis cell of some kind and 2 desks. There was a chemical set and a number of different chemicals there, along with what appeared to be mask fragments. Ezra's... I think the apostrophe S could be removed. Ezra absorbs your words, but the only response you get are a few slow nods. You know something, Ezra. The things you describe are familiar to me. Over the years, there were a few instances where I was able to peer into Tanner's mind. Faint shapes of what you described was what I saw. I was quickly expunged, however, in every single one of these instances, so I know nothing of the purpose or meaning of those things. Tanner's disappearance is a mystery to me, as it is to you, Bacon, and now I believe it is time to share your findings with the rest of the council. Let's go see them. As you were describing what you saw in Tanner's room, you could clearly make out expressions of growing astonishment on council members' faces. You finish, and with that, the room instantly becomes noiseless, as if empty, until old Jonas speaks. And there it is. What are you talking about? What am I talking about? Weren't you listening, woman? This is the moment. The moment where we can finally sit down and discuss the man, if he even is a man at all, who's been a mystery to us for all these years, yet we never dared speak about him, it, whatever. I know we're all thinking alike here, right? Yes, she pauses. Tanner was a mystery. His appearance, background, or lack thereof, and just his presence. He stood out so much when I saw him the first time, but no one ever spoke about him, ever, and he was a competent man, so I accepted things as they were. Well, Vera, child, it wasn't only you. I remember Tanner when he first came to the station. I had hair and more teeth, and the epithet old was far off from becoming stuck to my name. Tanner, he looked barely different than what he looks now. Maybe it's just because of the thing you saw in that room of his, Bacon. Tanner barely aged. You people might not have noticed it as much, but I did. I felt the same as Vera, and as every single soul in this station, and for good reason. Tanner was clearly hiding something from us, and a peek into his room, as revealing as it is, poses more questions than answers. He shrugs. I don't know, but at least we can now openly discuss Tanner. I do not disagree with anything said here. Our opinions do not differ. However, we now need to focus on the reason, or reasons, for his disappearance and how that will affect Southgate Station. Bacon, I feel, has more things to reveal to us about him. Bacon, you performed quite a few tasks for Tanner recently. Ever since he got here. Tanner's been sending him around. Alright, so seeing sending instead of sending on Ezra, I feel like that's Jonas's line. Do you know anything else we should know? Or do you know anything else you feel we should know? Now's the time to talk, Bacon. Tell us what you know. The tasks Tanner gave me were all somehow connected to the mysterious object which was stolen from the Faceless, causing them to invade Core City and the rest of South Underrail. I've learned that the object is a powerful one, and Tanner wanted it for himself. All this has led me all the way to deep caverns, where I've seen it finally get returned to the Faceless. Are you trying to say Tanner was the one responsible for the invasion? This story just gets better and better. But what the heck is this object you're talking about? The object is a power source. I do not know what the Faceless are using it for, but it's definitely something important if they're willing to invade us for it. It's a polyhedron made from some unknown material. It had strange markings and what appeared to be sockets of some kind, which is probably how it's connected to whatever it's powering. Incredible. Tanner must have needed that device so badly he was willing to risk an all-out war with the Faceless. There is, however, the question of how he was able to steal it from the Faceless in the first place. Someone did it for him. I found Laura Baker in deep caverns as she explained to me that Tanner sent her and Terry to pick up this object from some man. He must have been connected in some way to the theft, if not having done it himself. However, the earthquake prevented the Bakers from returning to SGS, and so did a gang which called itself the Acid Hunters. They killed Terry and wounded Laura, and took it from them. The Faceless returned Laura. I forgot to tell you in all this rush. She's resting right now. In any case, you mentioned you went all the way to deep caverns. Tell us how it happened. After the acid hunters took it from Laura and Terry, it finally ended up in Cortex Research Facility, from which it was stolen by the Chortists. After infiltrating their institute, the Faceless attacked, but the object had already been sent down to deep caverns, so it had no option but to follow it. Better and better. Would you stop it, Jonas? Seems like everyone wanted this object, including the enigmatic institute. Why did the Chortists send it to deep caverns? What do they have there? They don't have Chort. They had Chort. What? What is Chort? It's one ugly creature, one giant, disgusting, mutated mass of flesh with slimy tentacles sprouting from it. Everyone is silently exchanging glances. I killed it. Yeah, it was me, by the way, and returned the object to the Faceless. You got a real pair of mighty boulders between your legs. How do you even walk, son? Confidently. Fascinating. You've seen things in such a period of time and you live to tell the tale. But this tale presents more questions than answers, and we still don't know who Tanner truly is, what he was going to do with the Faceless device, and where he is now. There's a thing or two I've learned that might shed some light on who Tanner really is. Do tell us, Bacon. I've met this humanoid creature who calls itself Ram Umbra. We've met even before Deep Caverns, and it seems we were both involved in all these important events regarding the Faceless object. Can you describe it? Or can you describe it? He's lean, tall, and about as tall as Tanner, and has a prosthetic arm and a leg. He wears a metallic-looking mask, and instead of eyes, he has 4 lenses. One other striking feature is that he has 6 digits on each of his hands. As tall as Tanner, mask. He's a powerful individual, even capable of things like instant teleportation. The technology he wields is far more advanced than anything we've ever seen. Yeah, go on. He and Tanner seem to be of the same species. From what I understood, Ram Umbra wants to assassinate him, and he seems to have been trying to find him for a long time. Now that he's finally discovered him, Tanner slipped away and fled to North Underrail. So what you're trying to say is, Tanner's been posing as a human in order to hide from whatever the hell it is assassin, and now bolt as soon as this Ram Amber snuffed him out. Everything makes sense now. Faceless object, Tanner's appearance, that stasis cell in his room, his departure. We still don't know what he was going to do with that gizmo, but I bet the 5 hairs on my head it's related to him not wanting to get zapped by his fellow kinsman. Gentlemen, I think a long meeting is ahead of us. Thank you for everything, Bacon. The rest of us have a long discussion ahead. You, on the other hand, might want to get some rest. Some good rest. You've done more than enough. Afterward, you should come to my office. Yeah. So I am going to take the train to North Underrail, but I'm kinda curious. I want to check in with Ezra and see what he's going to say, or if we can confront him on him being. Wow, I get no new. That's actually kind of disappointing. But sure, we'll go check in with Vera and see what she says. I believe she gives you an option to stay here as a member of the council, but I ain't about all that. While there are still signs of concern intertwined in her expression, you notice more confidence and resolution in her stance and speech. Did you rest well, Bacon? I think I did. She nods. Do you know why I wanted to speak to you? You wanted to ask? You needed me for something. Yes. To be more specific, I wanted to offer something to you. How would you like to become one of Southgate Station's counselors? Why me? South Underrail hasn't been this turbulent ever since the breakup of Biocore. Earthquake, Faceless, Invasion, United Stations integration, and increasing conflicts between Underrail Protectorate and the Free Drones, to mention but a few. After you left, the council discussed you and your recent first-hand experiences throughout South Underrail. We feel what you know would be of great use to our station. That's why we offer you this position, and it is something upon which we all agreed. You don't have to answer right away. Think about this. You'll most likely take over some of Tanner's duties, some of the ones you could manage at first. Then, well, we'll get into the details and specifics after you give me a positive answer. Do you want to become a counselor, Bacon? What benefits does a counselor get? You'll be able to directly influence the future of Southgate Station. Right now, we all live in similar living conditions, so do not expect a significant improvement in that regard. However, you will receive a better pay, respect both in and outside of Southgate Station, and more. I'll have to think about it. Certainly, there's no pressure on you. We simply feel you would be a valuable contribution to the Council. I'll be here once you've made up your decision. So, you can become a counselor and end the game. I kind of want to go and peek and see if you can actually still slip into the Institute of Chort from the back door, but I imagine that's probably been sealed by now. But hey, there's food for thought. If you want to do that, maybe go look into it yourself on your own run. So before we close, actually, first, in case people are done, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. It's been a long ride. If you liked what you saw, if you liked hanging out with me, hit the subscribe button to keep track of my other stuff. Like it if you liked it and all that. And keep your eyes open for what else might come up. I'm highly considering... But this is a fair bit in advance. At the time of recording, this is probably about a month before it goes live. I'll probably be recording Breath of Fire 4 next, but I'll be putting it on the second time track, as you will have already seen by the time you see this, and it will very likely fill in for Underrail's slot as it gets closer to the release date. And then next video release should be Fatal Frame, so the sequel, Fatal Frame 2, or rather the next entry, will be its follow-up. So there you go. Fatal Frame 2 is confirmed to be coming soon. So by all means, again, if you like this or if you're looking forward to those, subscribe, like, all that. Tell me what you thought about the game down below and all that. I'd appreciate it. But before we wrap things up, that was me just saying, y'all can go if you want, but here's a quick summary of the admittedly disjointed plot. So as we already covered the Cymorphs and Foundry, the Forest, Ezra is Anton Matveev and all of that. John Dyson is Dude, and he managed to escape Hollow Earth. Hollow Earth, everything that went on there, as the Faceless described, that was them turning on, what's-his-face? I believe Otis, going by how all the exchanges in the emails went, is the Faceless leader. And he is the one who initiated the revolt and had all of the major scientists tossed into the vats, which led to Chort. But Hollow Earth is what caused the initial downfall of Biocore, and of course that caused everything else. Old Biocore fell apart, new Biocore eventually fell apart, all the bandits and such, and then Protectorate Biocore fell. Or rather, Protectorate Biocore came into being, Core City became what it is, and all of that. As for how Otis and the others became capable, and also why Ram Umbra feels that they are kin, at least distantly, I believe we can point the finger at the monoliths, which I didn't show those off, but there is another area in Deep Caverns called the Labyrinth. At the end of the labyrinth, you see a small bunch of monoliths, which you can likely assume are what they took the samples from that they mentioned. This is what allowed Titanis Lab to do its project, which caused Wazi Abdul to, well, go insane and be attacked by his own psionic doppelganger. Um, in addition, though, I believe, as Ram Umbra stated, that was storage used by his people, the so-called Godmen. Uh, that I guess might have carried actual genetic data, perhaps, because it was storage. It probably also had plenty of recordings, so as a result, at least the samples that were given those shards, so Otis at the bare minimal, probably have a higher level of cognizance, and as a result, that's what caused the uprising. Why did Chort come into being? Everyone was thrown into the mutagen vats, and if you recall in some of the emails, the Psymorphs were also mentioned in the mutagen tanks. I believe that the adaptability traits that Chort was stated to have probably came from the Psymorphs having their genetic data incorporated into the greater mass of Chort. And that's kind of where all that happened. It just took a while for it to really properly take shape. Because it's been 500-ish years since Hollow Earth, give or take. Or actually, no, I believe some of the things down there said 250. So about 250 years. And around 100 and change is when Idine went down and discovered Chort. And that's how that all worked out. Black Sea and everything with the expedition. Thanks to we didn't have a high will, so we didn't really interface with most of those things there, or in general for monoliths. But you can infer from the bits that Rum Umbra said that those are just a small sample of the things that are already saturating this world, apparently. And thanks to interfacing with the shard from the Fang, or whatever it was called, you're able to resolve things down there. And even Ram Umbra is like, yeah, no, that was a good thing. The final thing to theorize on, if you notice, Ram Umbra 6 even said that the phrase High Ones was not necessarily applicable to him. He said that it was archaic, however, which implies that it's a term that might have been relevant in the past. And what I can infer from that, and what I've seen other people theorize about, is that among other things, the Biocore scientists must have somehow gotten their hands on Leviathan genetic data. And that data, as well as whatever knowledge that, because keep in mind, we're talking about like Cthulhu-esque eldritch nonsense from dark space. Like, I don't know if all you would need is a few cells to just have it completely propagate its being into something. So, for all intents and purposes, I interpret Chort as a ridiculous mixture of Psymorph, numerous psionics, and a probable amount of Leviathan genetic data. And that's what we killed. Man or monster, rather god or monster, it's dead now. And all the reveals in Hollow Earth and then the expedition stuff, that's what makes me really look forward to what comes next, which I don't know if Infusion will be a sequel or if it's its own little spin-off thing in the same universe or what, but that and 2, I'm looking forward to both of them. Hopefully you are too. Unfortunately, though, it's probably going to be a while. I believe that is everything. There's lots of odds and ends, and you can check the wiki, and the Reddit if you're interested in delving into details. You can grab the game on Steam, Good Old Games, or GOG.com as well if you want it DRM free. Um, I'm sure you can find it on maybe another distribution site or two. I don't know, but those are the two that I know of. Highly recommend it. It's solid. You've seen it. Uh, Definitely plenty of suffering, but it's very rewarding. But this was a melee build. There are plenty of other builds. Throwing's apparently entirely legitimate nowadays, so maybe try that one out. Or try go guns blazing, go full psionic and have your cave wizard interface with all the monoliths, get all of your setting details. Side with the pirates in the expedition and get their side of the picture, because they have their own quests. In any case, again, thank you all for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed. And now, where would you like to go? North Underrail. After the Scrappers were defeated by the combined forces of the Black Eels and Protectorate, their political landscape of the very south of Underrail changed. That's awkwardly worded. The Protectorate managed to take the next step in their plan to integrate this southernmost bastion of humanity into their fold. Their victory was short-lived, though, because not long after that, the Free Drones launched an attack on the South Railroad outpost above and pushed the Protectorate out of it, blocking their main connection with the rest of their forces in Core City and the North. Because of the newly forged alliance with the Black Eels, Protectorate managed to reinforce through the docks, which allowed them to keep their foothold in Junkyard. Yeah, you can maneuver yourself to keep that out. However, their plans to establish a permanent stronghold in this town were delayed indefinitely. The constant bombing attacks from the station above eventually forced the Protectorate to evacuate the embassy building and retreat into the streets of Junkyard, where they set up camp, constantly fighting off incursions by the drones. But they held. With piracy being decisively suppressed, the waterways became much safer for trading, which helped the town's economy and helped ensure its survival in the foreseeable future. With both burrowers and the Rat-Hound King out of the way, Hathorians extended their hunting grounds and grew their community. They took care of their faceless problems. Rail crossing's troubles had only just begun. Since they lost too many people during the faceless attack, they had to seek help from the Protectorate. However, the train carrying the aid never arrived. I really dislike how this particular scenario plays out, though, if you want to side with the Free Drones. Like, you just doom them. Eventually, the nearby Ironhead clans took notice of the station's weakened state and mounted an assault. Despite being weakened by the absence of Baylor and his clan, the bandits had smelled weakness and kept on with their offensive. Though the initial attack was repelled, the few survivors decided not to wait for a second one and abandoned the station. Yeah, the only way to resolve that, some headed for SGS and some headed for Core City, but the bulk of the community, led by her, stuck together and has been said to have settled somewhere to the north. The only way to resolve that in their favor is to side with Protectorate, and that's no good. Of course, Free Drones ain't much better, but with the beast dead, Foundry was able to resume its production. Though economically prosperous and safe from outside threats, the city continued to suffer the same health hazards. Life in Core City went on as before. Caged by the city's high concrete walls and mesmerized by violent entertainment, workers, merchants, bandits, zoners all struggled onward, while the oligarchs played their shadowy games. One organization sought to challenge the balance of power in the city, though, the Silver Hand, formed from the Zone Rats gang and led by Gorski, who left SGS to pursue his ambition of taking control of Core City. I don't ever check with Gorski after the end. Maybe you can side with him and, like, be a part of that. I don't know. Though met with fierce opposition from the established oligarchs, the organization still survived and, due to enjoying the general support of zoners and other poor inhabitants of the city, managed to carve out a small piece of Core City for itself. People still flocked in great numbers to watch the arena, their thirst for blood never quite satisfied. But where's Super Bomberman? The legend of Super Bomberman, a mysterious gladiator who came from nowhere and quickly rose to the title of Invictus, would live for years to come. Not that anybody would recognize him. Gosh. Only my man Lattleman would, if we'd done it when we first did that. With the destruction of a peony lab and the loss of the South Railroad Station, the Protectorate suffered a major setback in their plans in the South. They managed to hold their presence in the junkyard, but just barely. However, their numbers in the upper Underrail and Core City remained strong still, as did their will to dominate. It was only a matter of time before they would rise again. I don't know if this would change if you came in and just erased them. I don't know. The news of South Railroad outposts falling to the free drones took everyone by surprise. No one dared to hope that such a small cell could accomplish such a task. It was mostly me, but sure. Whatever. The discovery of the spy in their midst had a twofold effect. On the one hand, drones were able to operate in much greater safety and found that their plans were not thwarted as often anymore. On the other hand, the knowledge of this betrayal sows seeds of doubt and mistrust among comrades. Who else could be a spy? Well, if you're not having issues that often, it's probably nobody. But, alas, y'all do y'all. Once the Protectorate soldiers managed to crack the heavy gate and enter the Institute, they found none alive among the carnage. All the bodies of the dead faceless were gone, and all the Chortists lay where they fell. Except for one. Iodine's body was never found. Following Chort's death, Harmos Stavros led the remaining Rasselfors out of deep caverns. Their discarded uniforms are found in lower Underrail, but it is unknown where they went from there. Okay, so that's why. The Black Sea expedition struggled as soon as its ships sailed into the all but forgotten waters. However, Aegis Incorporated defenses did not give in. Slowly but surely, the Lemurian facilities were opened one by one, providing advanced technology, knowledge, and clues toward what would be revealed to be the expedition's ultimate goal, the Acorn. Yeah, I gave that to somebody more important. But they never saw the Acorn. Realizing that it was time to leave, they gathered what they could and managed to sail out of the Black Sea safely and for good. And stay out. I'm the one who did all the work there anyway, basically. Neutralized the pirates, neutralized... In the beginning, since the expedition's arrival, the Grim Jetters mostly kept to their own part of the sea, waiting for the right time to strike. Yeah, that didn't work out too well, did it? They did manage to launch a series of successful raids following the expedition's retreat. Then they suffered a swift and unexpected eradication, and with it, a great threat to South Underrail waterways was removed. Yeah, wait, what are you talking about? Y'all never got to... What do you mean the expedition's retreat? What? Like, I... Pretty sure I cleaned y'all out. The destruction of the Shadowlith fragment evoked bloodthirsty madness in the Stormer Bay, and in their mutual butchery, they spared no one. The lights turned dim, the villages fell quiet, but for an occasional painful cry, and the northern coast of the Black Sea became redder than they'd ever been. But there was nobody there to do that? I'm just saying. Lastly, there were rumors that a Stormer Bayon warrior was seen near the dreaded Black Sea monolith, colloquially known as the Glowing Canine. That's what it was, not the jaw or fang, the Glowing Canine. After spending some time there, he allegedly climbed down the southern outer cliff, never to be seen again. So that would be Ingvar. Both medical supplies and electricity improved the quality of life greatly in the Muty Refuge, and not only in a practical sense. The former gave them enough relief to view their existence under the calming lights provided by the latter, and this helped them reevaluate it. You're welcome. And soon a faint sense of hope began to spread across the refuge. The acorn remained innocuous under Azif's watchful eyes, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. Meanwhile, Todd found a new life on the ferryman's old ferry. His new fatherly figure raised him as his own until drawing his final breath years later. Yeah, I hope Todd turns out okay. After cremating his body and thus sending its ashen remains high into the air above, Todd left the Black Sea. Oh boy, you in for a storm. Having lost so much time carrying his burdens was not a concern for him, since he knew there was still plenty of time left for him to have a family. And hopefully that works out for him. Under Vera's leadership, SGS fostered good relationships with the Protectorate and United Stations. You filthy turncoat! Though things were certainly slowed down by troubles that befell the Protectorate, it eventually came to pass, and SGS became an official part of the United States. I should have stayed. We could have prevented this. Not everyone was happy with the direction SGS took. Most of Gorski's followers and even some neutrals left the station, while Gorski himself denounced Vera and declared himself her enemy. Go Gorski! As for yourself, you decided there are more important things than managing a station, and that your destiny lies elsewhere. You boarded a train that took you far to the north to Hexagon, where you hoped you'd find Rom Umbra. Having retrieved their precious artifact, the Faceless retreated back into the depths from which they came. You never discovered the purpose or meaning of the medallion they gave you. And that is Underrail. I believe now it's just credits, so, you know, Stygian software and everything here. Ooh. So, oh, okay, that was literally all the credits. Okay, then. So, if you stuck around this long, thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed. The whole subscribe, like, and comment thing if you want to. This is the end of Underrail. I may or may not return to it at some point in the future. If I do, it will probably not be for a whole run. It'll be for haha funny things. But other than that, we are done with this. It's a great game. Kind of tiring to record, though, just from the sheer length of the game and the fact you have to only play if you're recording or streaming or whatever. But still, I do recommend it. If I do ever actually do proper reviews on this channel, this is one of the things I will review. I know there's plenty of other better reviews out there, but it'll be mine. It'll be mine, my special, and I'll pet it and call it many things. But, yeah. As stated, by the time this comes live, we should be, hopefully, depends on my own schedule, should be a good 10-20 parts into Breath of Fire 4, and then it will seamlessly shift over to the 4 p.m. Central time slot and replace Underrail as the RPG of choice. And likewise, Fatal Frame should be about to end by the time this goes live, and Fatal Frame 2 will just seamlessly fill in for the next survival horror slot. And that's it. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you for coming along on this journey. Y'all take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next trip. Y'all take care.